POCO reached out to us and asked us to take their brand new X7 Pro for a spin. Of course, as tech lovers, we couldn't say no. But to really put it through its paces and make things more exciting, we're pitting it against the fan favorite Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus. Will the POCO X7 Pro outshine the Galaxy? We're breaking it all down: design, screen, cameras, performance, and battery. Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com, and just so that we're clear, even though this is a sponsored video, we're giving you our completely honest opinion, whether POCO likes it or not. Starting with the POCO X7 Pro, it features a flat matte aluminum frame and a flat back in vegan leather with a two-tone color scheme in black and yellow, a signature colorway we've seen before on POCO devices. The upper left corner of the back holds a camera housing with gold rings around the cameras. This finish extends also to the power button. It weighs 199 grams and it has an IP68 rating, the highest ever in a POCO device. It's available in green, silver, and yellow. The Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus sticks to a familiar design with its flat matte armor aluminum frame and flat frosted glass back made from Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2. On the back, there's the usual triple camera setup in the top left corner, something we've seen on plenty of Samsung devices already. It weighs 196 grams and has an IP68 rating for dust and water resistance. It's available in marble gray like our review unit, onyx black, cobbled violet, and amber yellow, along with some online exclusive colors. One key difference between these two phones is the proximity sensor. The POCO uses a virtual software-based proximity sensor, which is known to be a bit unreliable. In contrast, the Galaxy has a hardware proximity sensor located under the display, offering more accuracy. These two devices couldn't look more different. The POCO goes for a bold, sporty vibe, while the Galaxy keeps things subtle and elegant. Interestingly, the other POCO colors, green and black, are a bit more toned down and could even be considered elegant in their own way. Which one looks best? Well, that's totally up to you to decide. Moving on to the displays, the POCO X7 Pro has a 6.67-inch screen, while the Galaxy is just slightly larger at 6.7 inches. The POCO features a Crystal Res flat AMOLED display, while the Galaxy comes with what Samsung calls a flat dynamic LTPO AMOLED 2X. The Galaxy screen, however, has a higher resolution and also a higher PPI density. Both phones support up to 120 Hz refresh rates and feature variable refresh rate screens. For our peak brightness test, we created an environment replicating full direct sunlight on a sunny day, with over 100,000 lux and measured brightness using a 100% white window. The POCO X7 Pro hit a maximum brightness of 1,131 nits, while the Galaxy S24 Plus reached a higher maximum of 1,613 nits. For screen protection, the POCO uses Corning Gorilla Glass 7i, designed for mid-range devices. Meanwhile, the Galaxy S24 Plus steps it up with the Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2, the latest and most advanced version from Corning so far. Both the POCO and the Galaxy support HDR10 and HDR10+, the latter being an improved format that dynamically adjusts brightness and color scene by scene or even frame by frame. They also both support hybrid log gamma, a format that works on both SDR and HDR displays. However, the POCO has an advantage here with Dolby Vision support, a dynamic HDR format similar to HDR10+. That said, both phones are capable of streaming 4K HDR video without any major issues. Both devices also have under-display fingerprint sensors. However, the one in the POCO is optical, while the one the Galaxy packs is ultrasonic, which is slightly better as it relies on micro vibrations instead of light. Both phones have excellent screens that get really bright. However, the bezels on the Samsung are slightly slimmer and completely symmetrical, while the POCO's bottom bezel is just a millimeter or two thicker than the rest. We'd say that Samsung's screen is marginally better, but overall the differences aren't massive. One bonus point for the POCO though is that it comes with a pre-applied screen protector right out of the box. Both devices come with stereo speakers, one as the earpiece and the other at the bottom. The Galaxy speakers are tuned by AKG. Here's an audio sample so you can judge the quality for yourself. Both phones deliver impressive volume and audio quality with similar treble performance. However, the Galaxy edges out slightly with deeper bass, giving its audio a richer feel overall. But that said, both are quite good. Now let's head out and test these cameras. We'll be scoring this camera comparison, and the maximum score awarded depends on the number of devices in the test. Since we're comparing 2 devices, the maximum score here is 2. For the wide cameras, both the POCO and the Galaxy feature 50 megapixel modules. In the first set of photos, the Samsung lifts the shadows too much at the top of the building where the sun hits. The POCO, on the other hand, delivers deeper, more contrasty shadows that better represent the scene. In the second test, interestingly, both devices produce extremely similar results, even down to the skin tones, so both photos earn 2 points. The POCO doesn't have a telephoto lens, while the Samsung comes equipped with a 10 megapixel telephoto lens, offering 3 times optical zoom. Here's an example showing just how much closer you can get with the Galaxy's 3 times zoom lens compared to the POCO's main camera.
So now let's move on to a few ultra-wide examples. Ultra-wide is really great if you want to capture more of the scenery in your photos.
For the ultra-wide lens, the POCO comes with an 8 megapixel camera, while the Galaxy steps it up slightly with a 12 megapixel sensor. In this shot, it's clear that the 8 megapixel camera on the POCO struggles, crushing the shadows far too much. The Galaxy manages the shadows much better compared to its wide lens performance. Here, the POCO's white balance leans heavily into magenta, while the Galaxy delivers a far more accurate photo. Just look at how more true to life my skin tone appears in the Galaxy's photo.
So we've come to portrait mode, one of my personal favorites. Let's see which one of these gives us the most realistic looking bokeh while still maintaining details.
Both phones handle edge detection identically, so the real differences come down to colors and exposure. The POCO tends to overexpose faces, while the Galaxy delivers a better balanced result. Edge detection, once again, is virtually identical here. However, the POCO not only overexposes the photo, but also produces a blurry image. The Galaxy takes the win again with a more accurate and sharper shot.
Ensuring you've got good video quality in your smartphone is crucial. So let's put these to the test and see which one does it best.
For video, the POCO is capped at 4K 60 FPS, while the Samsung can go up to 8K 30 FPS. For this comparison, we used 4K 30 FPS on both phones. At first glance, the POCO appears to have the most accurate white balance, but in reality, the Galaxy represents colors more accurately. On top of that, it has better control over saturation and exposure. In this one, the POCO starts with a slightly overexposed video. However, once I'm backlit, it completely flattens the shadows. The Galaxy, on the other hand, is able to preserve the exposure during the whole video.
Time to test out the front camera, which means we've got to take a bunch of selfies. Which one will make me look better? Let's find out.
At the front, the POCO features a 20 megapixel front-facing camera, while the Galaxy comes with a smaller 12 megapixel lens. In this first selfie, the POCO shot is way too dark, losing a lot of detail in the shadows. The Galaxy's does a much better job delivering a well-exposed photo. In the second selfie, the POCO once again produces a very dark image. Meanwhile, the Galaxy delivers a more true-to-life shot with accurate white balance coming out on top once again. At night, the story changes. The POCO captures more detail, but the image comes out quite dark. The Galaxy, on the other hand, produces a brighter shot, but it's far too blurry. Equally, both photos suffer from inaccurate tones. For video, with the front camera, the POCO can shoot a maximum of 1080p at 30 FPS, while the Galaxy does way better, reaching 4K 60 FPS. Whenever possible for our comparison, we do film at 4K 30 FPS in this mode. Unfortunately, the POCO is limited to only 1080p 30 FPS. While the POCO is better exposed at the beginning, it completely blows out the highlights when I get closer to the camera, whereas the Galaxy is slightly dark but keeps a constant, more balanced exposure.
So now let's test the audio on both of these devices. We're gonna start off with the POCO. What do we think? I'm in a pretty quiet area, but it's a little windy. There's a little bit of, traffic going on. So what do we think? How does it sound? Moving on to Samsung, is it any better at all? What are your thoughts? Make sure to let us know in the comments. And now let's talk about it.
So as you can hear, the POCO lets in a lot of background noise in the video, even though the area was relatively quiet. In contrast, the Galaxy does a much better job at canceling out noise, even managing to suppress some of the wind noise effectively. At night, surprisingly, the Galaxy produces the weaker photo with overly flat highlights and extreme over-sharpening. POCO, on the other hand, maintains a more natural balance in the highlights. In this second shot, the Galaxy once again lowers the highlights so much that it introduces a heavy blue tint to the sign. In reality, the colors were much closer to what the POCO captured. Alright, let's quickly sum it up and reveal the winner, though you might already have a good idea. Our scoring system is weighted by importance, with higher percentages assigned to key categories like the main camera, ultra-wide, and video, and lower percentages for categories like portrait, audio, and zoom. For example, in the main camera category, the POCO scored the most points. However, in ultra-wide portrait video, front camera, and audio, the Galaxy completely dominated. The POCO only managed to surpass the Galaxy in the night photography category. So as I hinted earlier, the clear winner in the camera department is the Galaxy S24 Plus. That said, it's worth noting that the POCO stood out in the night photography category, performing surprisingly well. Moving on, we're checking out the performance of these bad boys. Powering these devices, the POCO X7 Pro is equipped with the brand new MediaTek Dimensity 8400 Ultra, a custom version developed specifically for this device. On the other hand, our European Samsung unit features the Exynos 2400 chipset. In terms of memory, both our POCO and Samsung units come with 12GB of RAM, though POCO also offers an 8GB variant. For storage, both devices are available in 256 and 512GB configurations. For a more detailed look at the connectivity specs, head over to versus.com. You'll find the link in the description below. The POCO runs on the brand new HyperOS 2.0 based on Android 15 right out of the box. The Galaxy runs on One UI 6.1 based on Android 14, but it will very probably receive an update to One UI 7 based on Android 15 during the first quarter of the year. POCO promises 3 years of OS updates and 4 years of security updates, which is honestly just okay compared to the impressive 7 years of OS and security updates Samsung is offering. A very welcome move in the Android ecosystem. The POCO X7 Pro brings cool lock screen customization options, updated system apps, new animations, and some handy AI tools like expand and erase features in the Gallery app to improve your photos with ease. The Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus includes some already classic Samsung features like Samsung DeX and instant slow-mo, plus some AI features like sketch to image and generative edits to enhance your creativity. Next up, we put these devices to the test with some demanding games and video editors to check their real-world performance. First, we fired up Grid Autosport. The game is capped to 30 FPS, however, the high graphics mode is available in both devices, which offers the best graphics fidelity. Both devices performed very well without any kind of hiccups and a maximum temperature of around 38 degrees Celsius. Next, we launched Wuthering Waves and maxed out the graphics. Both devices handled the game extremely well with no significant frame drops. One thing to note is that the Galaxy's glass back feels noticeably hotter compared to the POCO's faux leather finish, even though both phones reach similar temperatures of around 40 degrees Celsius while gaming. Moving on, we created a 3-minute 4K video and rendered it at 4K 30 FPS in multiple video editors. In Adobe Rush, the POCO managed to render the video in 12 minutes and 23 seconds. Meanwhile, the Samsung crashed every single time we tried to render, likely due to an incompatibility with the Exynos chipset, an issue we've previously encountered in the other S24 models. In InShot, the Galaxy finished rendering the video almost a minute faster than the POCO, completing the task in just 4 minutes and 14 seconds. Lastly, in CapCut, the Galaxy once again outperformed the POCO, finishing the render nearly a minute faster at 2 minutes and 2 seconds. On top of these real-world scenarios, we ran some benchmarks. In Geekbench 6, the Galaxy S24 Plus outperformed the POCO X7 Pro by a noticeable margin in both single-core and multi-core tests. In 3D Mark, the Galaxy once again outperformed the POCO, though the gap was much closer this time. In Antutu, the Galaxy once again took the lead over the POCO despite multiple runs, though the POCO stayed close behind, keeping the competition tight. The Galaxy S24 Plus is clearly the better phone here, crushing it in pretty much all the benchmarks and doing great in gaming too. That said, POCO isn't too far behind, especially in gaming and real-world use. And let's be honest, that's what really counts more than benchmarks. The Dimensity 8400 Ultra definitely proves it's no slouch. When When it comes to batteries, the European version of the POCO X7 Pro packs a large 6,000 mAh battery, while the Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus comes with a smaller 4,900 mAh capacity. In terms of charging speeds, the POCO supports an impressive 90-watt wired charging, a feature typically seen in flagship phones like the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, for example. POCO claims it can fully charge the battery from 0 to 100% in only 45 minutes. The Galaxy falls short here again with 45-watt wired charging. However, unlike the POCO, the Samsung supports wireless charging at up to 15 watts and even includes reverse wireless charging at 4.5 watts. Ultimately, battery life will always depend on your personal usage, whether that's watching videos, reading, or gaming. The Galaxy S24 Plus has a full retail price of $999, but you can often find the 12GB RAM version for around $780 at online retailers. The POCO X7 Pro is priced starting at €320 with only the Euro pricing available at the moment. So, putting it all together, we've got two devices with solid hardware, great performance, and the latest AI innovations. As you saw in this video, the Galaxy outperformed the POCO in almost every area, which isn't too surprising since it's a premium device. What was surprising though is how close the POCO managed to keep up in most areas, even beating the Galaxy in charging speeds, for example. But the key thing here is the price. Samsung charges a premium for the S24 Plus, while the POCO offers a more budget-friendly option that still packs a serious punch. If you're curious to see how the base Galaxy S24 stacks up against the S24 FE, make sure to check out this video right here. And before you go, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and hit subscribe as we're always testing out new devices to help you make the best choice. Links to all of the devices mentioned in this video can be found in the description below. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.